Well, hello, Team Vitality. Happy Monday, the 26th of August. Oh my goodness, we're nearing the end of the month. So happy you're here. I've been talking about this special guest trainer for a few weeks now, once we got it all secured, and the day has finally come. I'm Christy, for those newbies here. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the team training. I'm in Colorado, EC2. And we have a really special guest, and I'm just going to give her the floor tonight. We're not going to do any announcements or anything else, because this is just going to be a full, whatever, 30 minutes or however long you want to go, Charla. I'm going to introduce our special guest, Charla, and then read her bio. And then I want to just give you a little bit of my personal introduction to Charla. So Charla Gervers lives in Dallas. She's a 25-year veteran of the network marketing profession. She has led sales teams cumulatively totaling more than 1 million people over 30 countries and across every product line possible: nutrition, weight loss, skincare, beauty, deregulated energy, travel, girls and women's clothing, wine, men's custom clothing, and more. From startups to multi-billion-dollar companies, Charla has seen every stage of growth and lack of growth. Being the person responsible for generating the budget numbers, Charla has tried every strategy known to man. Some companies thrived and others closed their doors. Charla will bring insights relevant to today. This is big. This is really what I wanted her to talk to, because she's, been in for so long, and there's always shifts happening just depending on where we are, and we need to make sure we stay on top of the shifts and shift along with it as entrepreneurs, right? After leaving corporate in May, Charla is now an entrepreneur as a coach and speaker, marketing herself in today's world right alongside all of us. The online gurus want you to think it's all easy to make millions, but reality is that anything worth having takes a lot of work. Charla is a wife to Jason and has 2 sons, a daughter-in-law, and 2 grandbabies, in addition to trying to change the world one network marketer at a time. So Charla was the CSO, Chief Sales Officer, for the previous company I was in. Gosh, it's been 10 years now. Sherry Martin was in that same company. Tony May, if she's on here, was in that same company 10 years ago. And it was a startup, you guys. So we all joined kind of at the same time, and grew super fast, and then like 2.5 years later, it tanked. But we always learn so much from every experience, and I learned so much in that short time of 2.5 years. And Charla, being the chief sales officer, she really just made it fun and inspired all of us. And I'll never forget, I'm like going to tear up right now, because it was the very first time. It was the very first conference. We were in Phoenix, and all of a sudden, last minute, I was asked to share my story on stage. And at that time, because we were brand new, I don't know, there's maybe 200-300 people in the room, and I had no idea what a story was and why I even needed to share it. But Charla held my hand in the backstage, and then she just helped me through it, and she was on stage with me asking me questions. I just shared my story and realized that we can really change lives with our story. She was so good at that, so good at helping us find our why. And so without further ado, I want to introduce Charla Gervers. And Charla, I would love for you just to start off just sharing your story. I remember you always sharing your story about what inspired you in your very first network marketing company, and what you heard on stage, and why you choose to stay in the industry. And thanks for being here. I love you so much.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here and with all of you guys. It's good to see Dave and Sherry and a couple of faces that I know. So thank you for having me. You guys get, a certain number of weeks a year that you guys do this, and I feel honored to even be invited and be able to be a part of it. So thank you, Christy. And yeah, I feel very old now after hearing that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's been 10 years. But hey, it's all in your mind, right? And if you live life activated, then yeah, it's going to feel a lot. You'll have a lot more life in those years. So yeah, so my story really did start. I moved to Wisconsin. And I traded 10 months of summer in Texas for 10 months of winter. Sorry, Wisconsinites. I was not built for that. And I took the first job that would get me back to Texas, back home. And it was a nutrition company. And I was in sales and marketing. It was all one department. And I remember I was on about my third conference in my first year there. And it was in Seattle, Washington. There were about 1,500 people in the room. And my whole team was the one running the event, right? Well, in these conferences, there was always testimonial night. And person after person after person would share their testimonial. Well, I didn't understand why, these people I was very cynical. And I thought, why everybody here's a salesperson, nobody here can join. We're not going to sell any more product because of this. And I just didn't get it. I'd had that attitude. And I finally just said, okay, whatever. It's 1 a.m. and we're still talking. We're still sharing testimonials. My team has to be back downstairs at 6. I thought just roll with it. I'm just going to go sit in the audience and hush. And this lady gets on stage, and her little boy had an advanced aging disease called progeria. So she played a video of him at Christmas time, and his arthritis pain in his hands was so bad that he couldn't open his presents. So literally someone else was opening this 5-year-old's presents. And at the time, my oldest was like 3, 4 years old. And I thought, there's nothing that would keep Tanner from opening his presents. So that started kind of peeling some cynicism off of me. I'm hearing what's going on here. And this little boy's on the front or on the stage. And in the video, he was completely shiny bald. And on stage, he had little peach fuzz. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, good nutrition's good for everybody. And he's making faces at the front row and tugging on his mom's shirt and doing what a 5-year-old should do. And I thought, oh, look at that. That's good. And then she said the words that changed me forever when she said that his life expectancy was only 9 years. But because of the opportunity she had in that business, she would get to be there through all the poking and prodding his little heart was never going to understand. She would get to be mom. And that changed something in me. I was crying the whole weekend. I tear up every time I talk about it because it just viscerally changed something in me that's never gone back. Because I got to see that I get to be this little part in someone's story and someone going and getting the life that they want, getting to be the mom, getting to be whatever it is that you do this for. So that to me is why it is an honor and a privilege to be part of the network marketing industry. We have an extraordinary opportunity for ordinary people. And that's the part that blesses me the most, is seeing someone come in who doesn't know all the leadership skills, who doesn't have all of the pieces and parts put together, but they learn one step in front of the other and following the person that's a little bit ahead of them. And it's amazing how transformational this kind of business can be. So that's why I'm in it. That's why I've been a part of it. That's why I will be as long as I possibly can, in whatever shape, form, or fashion that's going to look like. So Christy shared that at the beginning of the summer, I shifted into an entrepreneurial role. And I have been diving into all of the pieces and parts that are marketing yourself online. Now, I had the team that did that before, so I didn't have to do that myself. I didn't have to explore ClickFunnels and Kajabi and all the different places and things that were out there for an individual entrepreneur. And in some of this, what I realized is I was in the process of an identity shift. And in listening to all the companies and seeing all of the things that are happening in the industry, the companies that are shutting down, the companies that are taking and going affiliate models, and all the management decisions that are happening in the industry, there's a definite instability that people feel. Well, I mean, people, we're human, right? So we're going to feel some of those things. But the reality is that ultimately nothing changes for you as an entrepreneur unless you change. And so stepping into your whole identity as a network marketing professional is what really the topic of my talk is going to be tonight. And so what does that really mean? Ultimately, that story of that little boy changed my life, but it didn't change my identity yet. I was growing into my identity, being part of the back office, helping you guys and helping people just like you through the years go and get the life that you wanted. But I had to change a part of my identity to do that, just like you have to do the same. And I would submit to you that there are a couple different identities that are important right here and right now for you to step into and own. And you can either do it or not. It's a simple, sounds very simple. What I'm going to say is going to sound like, well, goodness, this was not the lightning bolt moment I thought it was going to be. But the reality is, if you do it, it can change everything for you. And right now, the world wants you to think you have to be all these things. You have to do all these things. You have to be on social media 24/7. You have to be going live 24/7. Nope, now you got to do a reel. Now you've got to be posting carousels. Oh, now you got to be doing posts, making sure you're doing that and sharing it in your stories and commenting on your own. Oh my gosh, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Yes, some of that is necessary today. But you know what? There are still people that are meeting other people today. Are they meeting in homes like they used to? Not at the same level that they used to. So how do we adapt? And how do we adapt to the changing marketplace? The marketplace has been changing since I've been in the industry. As long as I've been, this is where the first company I told you about, people would drive in their applications. They would fax them in the last day of the month. They would fax orders in every day. We did not have a website. There was no internet. So it's gone to so just pause that. And if you're not alive long enough to know that then I'm sorry. You'll have to look in the history books and understand what that was like. But the world's changed 100 times probably in that amount of time. And so with that, each one of those requires a little bit of an identity shift. I have to be willing to step into something else and let go of something. So write those two things down. What do I need to let go of? And what do I need to step into? If you get nothing else out of this, that right there can help you lead yourself better. And if you're going to lead a movement of people, then you have to live what you lead, or lead what you live. I said it backwards. Lead what you live. So you've got to be willing to let go. You've got to be willing to step into new things. And what I would submit to you is you all have a story. Every single one of you has a story. And every single day, you're learning more of that identity of who you're called to be right now and who you're letting go of, who served you well. And you can bless that person and release them because they served you well up to this point. But now it's stepping into more of who you are and who you need to be right now. So first is you've got to know that you're the one. The one. You're the one who is going to influence the people who are attracted to you. Christy's the one who's going to influence the people that are attracted to her. Each person on here, you have the network of people that you will be responsible for and to, that you are to bring to this movement. So first, believing that you're the one is the number one barrier most people don't get through. You are on this call, so you have an opportunity to get through it and fast forward through it. But that right there will hold people back from even sharing the opportunity, from even sharing the product. And just, they don't believe that they're the one. And this doesn't matter if it's social media, if it was in person, if you were holding opportunity events, inviting people to your house and playing a video, it doesn't matter what era of the industry. This is tried and true. And so I can promise you, this has never been more important, honestly, than today. Because in a confined room, there's 8 people in that room. You just have to believe you're the one to those 8 people that night. But if you're sharing on social media, you've got to believe that you're the one, and that you have a fortified spirit within you that is going to be immovable from what you believe is true. And so your belief in the opportunity, your belief in the business, your belief in the products, find one thing you believe in today. And if you've been using the products for a while, I'll tell you what to do. I told Christy this. I was like, if you haven't done this in a while, you probably should. Nutrition is my favorite because you can always feel what it feels like when you stop taking it. So get off your product for a week, then tell me how you feel, and then get back on it. And you'll have a fresh new story for right now, a fresh story that will be a revelation, not only for you, but for the people that you're meant to bring to this movement right now. So number one, you've got to believe that you're the one. And how do you do that? I'm a person of faith. So I'm a Christian and I believe what God says about me. And that sometimes I have to remind myself of those things and not to get too far off, but ultimately you've got to believe. And if you don't have that firm belief system, then write down what are the lies, the tapes, the stories that you're telling yourself in your mind, or maybe someone else has told you through the years that you've taken and you've come into agreement with, and then write it in a T diagram and put the truth over to the side. So what's the lie? What do I know to be true about me? And one by one, you're going to start erasing the lies and those stories that you tell yourself. If you can change your story, you can change your life. Promise you that one. And all of us have the ability to change our story. So believing you're the one. Next is believing that you're a marketer, that I am a marketer. In every era, you got to be able to be willing to be a marketer. I am a marketer, and own it and own that identity. And I do what marketing is required. I do what is necessary to make sure that I am sharing a message that will be appealing and attractive. I'm learning from other people. I'm exposing myself to things that others do. And whatever inspires me, guess what? It's going to inspire the people you're meant to move. So that's all. It's as simple as being a marketer, is allowing yourself to be marketed to, and you find something that's inspiring to you. Take it, turn it into something for your network and the people that you're meant to move. Next is a salesperson. I know a lot of people have really, balked at the word sales. They don't want to be a salesperson. Well, how many of you guys are married? Anybody on here married? Okay. Anybody have kids? Okay. All right. So you sold him or her and you sold those kids peas and carrots. You did. Own it. Like, we are selling all day, every day. We're selling our favorite movie. Somebody said that they just went to see The Forge right when I was coming on. And I'm like, we're selling their favorite movie. We sell our favorite new restaurant. We're selling all the time. There's a barrier there when it's something I can benefit from. Why is that a problem? That you could benefit. Good people like helping other good people. It feels good to help people. Your right people that you're the one to are going to love the fact that you benefit from it. The people that you're not meant to be, that you're not called to, they're the ones that will repel from it. And that's fine. You're not meant to lead them to it. Maybe you're a seed being planted and someone else comes along the way and they're a part of their journey. So believing that you're the one, believing you're a marketer. Next, believing you're a salesperson. And then last, that you're a closer. I am a closer. I am a closer who seals the deal. I am a closer. I'm going to get a commitment. You know why? Because nothing happens unless somebody commits to do something different. Nothing changes unless something profound is committed to and someone makes a commitment to change. So you owning the identity of being a closer is important, because a lot of people can agree and nod and, shake their head and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to it, looking people in the eye with your full integrity and your full belief, knowing that you're the one, that you're a marketer, you're a salesperson, you're a closer. And why? Because if you don't close, their life doesn't get to change. Their health span doesn't get to change. If you don't close it, something and someone in their network doesn't get to change. And so I look at that as it is my responsibility, not only to plant the seed, but to water the seed. So where are you right now on a scale of 1 to 10? If 10 was you'd already have signed up if I gave you the link, and 1 is I'm cold and never going to join. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 in your readiness to join this opportunity, or in your readiness to start taking the product? Whatever that is, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? If they say 7 to 10, all you ask is, so what is that about? What's between the 7 and the 10? What's the gap about? And then zip it and let them talk. And they will tell you everything that's standing in the way. Okay, so is there anything else? Is there anything else standing in the way? And seriously, like, don't fill the space. Let there be the pause and the awkward silence, because that's where the magic happens. They will tell you everything standing in the way. So if I could show you a way that we could talk to your spouse about it, if I could show you a way that we could resolve that, would you be willing to start tonight? And the answer is going to be yes. It's not going to be no. If it's no, then there's something else that they haven't told you yet. But again, you're getting the real objections. It just helps you cut straight to the chase and start, instead of having a sea of people, you're starting to part people into what camp they're in. And that's a good thing. Thank you. Thank people for their no. No is better than a maybe, because it's clear. And so I truly appreciate people saying no. It's okay. I didn't make the product. You're not offending me. I didn't create the opportunity. I love it, but you're not offending me. And if you live unoffended, and that's the best place truly to stay as a closer, is commit to living an unoffended life. You will always be able to close people because it'll not be possible for you to be offended. And that is a very difficult posture to hold. But if it's a commitment you make to yourself, it will serve you in all other areas of your life, with your kids, with everybody that's around you, living unoffended. So those 4 identities are the first piece. Next, there's a couple mountains you have to climb, and specifically 4 mountains. And this is the lifelong journey. This is one that is, I think we'll all be climbing these mountains as long as we're in this profession. And that's what makes it exciting. And that's what makes it an adventure. So the first is Entrepreneur Mountain. Entrepreneur Mountain. Owning that you are an entrepreneur. Making sure that you're staying in your personal power. Those 4 identities I just talked to you about. Once you're there, then you've got your personal power where it needs to be. And then it's keeping it and honoring it for those who are you're responsible to and who are responsible to you. Next is making sure that you're working on the right things, that you're working on revenue generating activities or production. So power, production is next. Revenue generating activities, because that's what's going to yield the profit that you need. And then last but not least on Entrepreneur Mountain is protecting it and making sure if you guys, I don't know, LLCs, all the things that you need as you grow, you're going to need to constantly be reevaluating your financial status, your legal status, really truly protecting the asset that you have created. And so if you're starting in your journey, some of this is probably, you don't even need to worry about it. But I promise you, as you get to certain stages in your journey, you're going to need to get some tax advice. Make sure that you are being responsible with what is entrusted to you. The next mountain is Money Mountain. So many people have money issues. And when I say money issues, I mean scarcity, belief systems around money that have not necessarily served you well. Some that may have served you well for a period of time, but I promise you, this kind of business is going to make you come up right against whatever the barriers are that you've had around money. Money, how to make it, how to keep it, how to grow it. Very specifically, you go from scarcity to abundance to ultimately prosperity. And that is a constant. So reevaluating your thought life around money. What are the shoulds? What are the shouldn'ts? What are those things that those stories around money that are important to you? Because what will happen is you'll achieve your initial why. And I've worked with thousands of people that this is their story. They flew through the ranks. They achieved their first, second, third, fifth. They achieved everything on every dream board. And then they stopped growing and they hit a plateau and they got comfortable and complacent. Those are your 2 enemies, comfort and complacency. What happened though, is they had success, they had achieved, but they had not achieved significance yet. Significance is where you truly get to the highest level of conquering Money Mountain. When it's no longer about you, but it's about who you can serve. How can you give in a bigger way? How can this be something that is a legacy that lives on beyond you? And that, I would say, if you have achieved your goals, and you don't have a why that is burning inside of you and something that is propelling you forward every day, then talk to the person who brought you into the business and you guys have a why conversation and ask yourself some questions, some really tough questions. If money, time, and responsibility were no object and you could set those worries aside, what would you have in your life that you don't have today? What would you be doing in your life that you're not doing today? You're not free to do today. How would you be living that you're not living today? And then last, how would you be giving that you're not free to give? You can't just write the check. Not that we write checks anymore, but you can't just write the check and know that the money's in the bank for whatever it is that draws your heart to it. That's what I mean by a why that is bigger than you, that is not going to be something you can do by yourself, right? So conquering Entrepreneur Mountain, Money Mountain, and then Trainer Mountain. You will be a trainer from the first person that you bring into the business to the last person in the business. And that's a part of the journey that if you embrace it and you see that you're able to impart your knowledge into someone else, even if you join one day and they join right behind you. The business that Christy and Dave and Sherry we were talking about, she was talking about earlier, we would have calls every hour on the hour for the first I don't even know how many months we were doing that. It's kind of a blur now, but we would say, bring people to the call in an hour, in 2 hours. Well, as long as you're a step ahead of everybody else, it doesn't matter. Let go of the fact that you need to know all these things. You don't. You really don't. That's a great question. Let's find out together. And so bursting the bubble of what you should be. And again, I'm trying to go at these identity things and these lies that we tell ourselves that keep us complacent, stuck, and not doing the things that we know we need to be doing in our business. So trainer is an important mountain to climb, but it's one we're always climbing to perfect the art of connecting truly and to impart that knowledge to someone else, to coach someone else, to consult with someone else. And then the last mountain is movement mountain. Creating a movement. You have to lead what you live. To take people to that place, their why. Ultimately, whatever the why is for them, right? You're the guide that allows the process to happen, but you have to see yourself leading that movement, being a movement maker and a movement creator. And if it's 5 people, it's a movement for the 5 people that is going to change their lives. There is no difference in a 5-person, 500, 5,000, 500,000 person movement. It is equally significant in the life of the person that you touch. And one person's life to me is worth it all. If we just touch one life as a part of what we're doing here, then that's what it's all about. So speaking of one life, we each only get one life. One. We don't get 2, we don't get 3, we don't get a do-over. We get one life. I learned that really early in life. My dad was he was an entrepreneur, had an excavation business. So I grew up driving water trucks when I was 8, a dump truck when I was 10, and a loader when I was 12 years old, and enjoyed being on his job sites. My mom was an entrepreneur, had her own insurance agency. So I was raised by 2 entrepreneurs. So I definitely had money issues around scarcity because we were making it, or Daddy was giving Mom $20 for groceries for all of us. And I remember seeing that. I remember seeing those things. So there are things that we probably don't even realize that we've got to work through that will come up for you. Reach out for help. You're not alone. You are not doing this alone. This community is here for a reason, and it is to help each other get through the things that you don't know how to get through. And if we don't ask for help, you know what? No one gets to put their Superwoman, Superman cape on and come in and save the day and help you. That's, to me, that has been my biggest barrier in life, is I don't ask for help. If it is to be, it's up to me. Well, that was great. That served me for a period of time, but I've had to let her go. And since then, I've seen the richness in life by asking others for help. So my dad's 15 years old. I'd come home from school, and he normally is not there, but I see a note on the door and it says, go to the hospital room 323 or whatever. I go to the hospital, and my dad is in the bed, laying in a bed, which he'd never been sick a day in his life. Like, I'd never seen the man sick. And my mom is on one side, my stepmom is on the other side, and they're holding his hands. This is not a sight you see every day. Your mom and your stepmom holding your dad's hand. And I'm like, oh crap, what's happened? So they usher me to the hallway, and they proceed to tell me that he has terminal cancer. It was prostate cancer, but it was in every organ of his body. His one kidney was completely blocked. The other kidney was 99% blocked, and it would be blocked any day that you get his affairs in order, is what the doctor told us in the hallway. And I come back in, and he said, number one, don't say that word around me ever, cancer. And okay, I'm like completely in shock, overcome. And I'm thinking, okay, fine, whatever you want, I'll do whatever you want. And then he said a very powerful sentence. He said, I don't care what they told you in the hallway. I will live until your sister's 5th birthday, Mandy's 5th birthday. Mandy was 3 at the time. And I'm thinking, a doctor told me 6 weeks. A crazy man told me he's going to be here in 2 years. Okay. Well, I believe the doctor, and ultimately, I mean, I'm a kid, right? That's who I'm going to believe, is that voice of authority. Well, what I didn't understand is my dad is the one who was actually correct. 2 years later, we had her 5th birthday, and 1 week later is when he passed. And that was a victory. That 2 years showed me everything I needed to know about life and living with passion and purpose in every breath that we take. We take everything for granted that is around us until we're at a place like that. And I would say to you guys, you have got something in your hands that is truly life-giving to people. And I look at it as a responsibility to share, that it's irresponsible of me not to share something that could be life-giving to someone. And so when I share that, he said, I will live until Mandy's 5th birthday, right? Well, I was fast forward years later, I was listening to a Jim Rohn cassette, and he said, the 2 most powerful words in the English language are I will. It's unmitigated speech. There's no room for any kind of error. I will, period. Finish the sentence. I will blank. What will you do? I will blank. And he said, the only thing that makes that more powerful is when you couple I will blank with until blank. So I will keep sharing the opportunity every single day with 3 people until somebody joins, right? Or whatever that is for you. I had to pull the car over. I didn't realize why that stirred me so powerfully in the moment. I had no clue what was going on, but it was like that moment with that little boy on stage. And I was like, oh my gosh, I lived that. I lived that moment. And I lived him saying, I will live until your sister's 5th birthday. And sure enough, he did. And so no one's ever going to be able to tell me that the power of the human spirit is not something that can do amazing things. And if you truly own the identity that you have, and he owned it, he knew what his purpose was. And in that 2 years, he lived his purpose with everything in him, like to the point where I'm going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. Daddy, I got to be up at basketball at 5 in the morning. I got to go to bed. But he wanted to impart that knowledge. He wanted to share it in every breath that he had in him and make sure that he didn't leave any change on the table, that he gave us his very best and he gave us everything that he had. So I share that with you today in closing to share ask you, what's your I will until? What is it that you need from you? And there may be several things stirring in you. So maybe a couple of things, ultimately, but I would say write them down. Take some quiet time tonight. Write down for you what is going on in you that you need to let go of. This has got to end. It's got to come to an end, and you got to be the one to put it to an end. And this is what I've got to step into, and I've got to become this. I've got to own this. And what is the action, that revenue generating action that you're complacent, you're sitting on the sidelines, and you're not doing what you need to be doing there. You know what you need to be doing. If you don't know, then ask your mentor. They'll help you. They'll help you get those things that you need to be doing, so that you do know what you need to be doing. You're confident in what you need to be doing. And that is my message for tonight. Own it. Own your identity full out. Think about it this way. If we're not owning who we are, then we're a fraction of who we're really meant to be. And if we coast through life being a fraction of who we're truly meant to be, are we really going to make a mark? You're here to make a mark on the people that are entrusted to your care. You're here to make a mark. I'm here to make a mark. We all are here to make a mark. We are here to create movements of people. And that, to me, is what it's all about. You have an amazing leaders here in this company and in this team. I had the blessing of working with Christy when her identity was an esthetician. That's how she would introduce herself. That was first, that she would introduce herself as an esthetician. And slowly but surely that identity started to shift, and seeing that identity shift into being a network marketing professional has been one of the most awesome journeys, because I do remember that day backstage. I do remember that day holding my hand on your back as you were sharing, but seeing Dave beaming and just, gosh, you see his grin right now, right? Just seeing him beaming at who you are, but also who you were becoming. So we all are 2 versions of ourselves, the person that we are today and the person that we're becoming. And I hope the next time I see you, that we're all that next person that we're becoming, and that we're bigger and better and more radiant than we ever could think we could possibly be. So Christy, I'll turn it back to you.
Oh my God. Did I mention to bring your Kleenexes to this training? Man, you were just powerful. And I hope you saw the chat. I'll have to send you a copy of the chat.
Thank you guys. Oh yeah.
So this was just perfect timing, because we have a really big launch coming, which I didn't even have a chance to mention to you, but we are launching a GLP-1 activator that is, all natural, plant-based, and it's going to help a lot of people.
Oh my gosh.
10 times what we already have in our hands, and that's coming in October. And number one, so many lives to be changed with this product for sure. We're learning a lot more about it right now. And number two, we only have a total of 600 people registered in our entire company to this conference. My very first conference, we had 6,000 people. So I don't know if there's, I mean, and this is in October in Kansas City, they are launching this new life-changing product. So is there any words of wisdom? Like, we've done all we can as leaders to help encourage people just to drop everything and be there in the seats as we learn about this product, and we're going to run like crazy after this launch to be there and get registered.
Absolutely. Yeah. Number one reason, all the surveys of all the events and all the companies, number one reason that somebody comes to a conference, my leader told me I needed to be there. They told me to. They didn't ask. Christy told me to be here. That's the number one thing. Use your personal influence and power and tell those people that need to be there. You need to be there, because everything changes on the other side of the yes. As long as they're saying no, or I don't know, or I don't know if I get childcare, I don't know if finances are going to, well, that's why you have to be there, is exactly those reasons. And ultimately, there's never been an event where people walked out. I've told them, if you come, I will personally refund the money to you if it isn't everything that you needed right here, right now, in this moment in time. Never in 25 years have I ever paid somebody's registration back. And I've said it over and over and over, hundreds of people in the room, and said, I will personally do it. And no one's ever been disappointed, because they're right where they're supposed to be at an event. So I would just say, use your personal power don't assume, knock on their door, pick up the phone and call them, get them meeting for coffee, and get people there. Make it your responsibility to get people there. And you will have the largest team there. No doubt. You will, but you've got to own it. And it isn't going to be the company. With Zoom and everything else, people think that it is optional now. And that since 2020, everyone's registration is a half or a fourth. I've not heard anybody that's better than 50% of what it was. So if that is any encouragement to you, but that also shows the malaise and the blanket of, oh, it's okay, I'll still get the same thing through Zoom. But do you? If you listen to a CD, do you get the same thing at a concert? I'm a Def Leppard fan. That was my first record. And I haven't listened to them in forever, but I bought a record, then I bought the cassette, then I bought the CD. I finally went to a concert 3 weeks ago. I am 53 years old, and I finally went to a dadgum concert. Oh my gosh. And the Journey was there too. I was like, oh my word. Those are I'm singing along every single word to every single Journey song. And is the CD as good as the show? Absolutely not. If you've been to a concert, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Any kind of concert. So that's the difference. There's also something that happens when you are surrounded by like-minded people that is unlike anything else. Big decisions get made at big events, and people make big decisions because of the courage. Like, there's something, I don't know, like some courage grows in us through proximity to other people who are also doing the same thing that we're doing. Somehow that gives us permission to fast forward into the next version of ourselves. I've always said to people that if you want to take and fast forward your business to the next place, then you've got to be at every event, and you will fast forward faster than everybody else. It's like compressing 6 months worth of experience that you get through the School of Hard Knocks into one weekend. I don't know about you, but I'd so much rather have a weekend than 6 months of learning the hard way. So just to help you with your conversations, and you being the one. And then don't be offended when they don't. At the end of the day, bless them and release them, and they're right where they're supposed to be. And then they're going to tell you on the other side of it, you were right. You will have people that will tell you, you were right, I should have been there. I won't miss another one. And then there may be someone that you have the resources and the ability to tell them, I'm going to pay for half your plane ticket. There was a lady I worked with in Canada. Every plane ticket was $1,000 just to get there, just to get to the event that was always in Dallas. And she started out, she paid for half of a ticket for someone else to come with her. Every conference she paid for one person like that. She started to get to the point where she paid for one ticket. And she kept bringing someone to every single conference because she knew, if I don't, and I don't get them to this conference with me, they're not going to see what I see. They're not going to feel it, experience it, and it come to life. Well, she was truly the fastest to go to the top of the company and the youngest person to go to the top of a 30-year-old company. And it was 30 years old when she joined. That kind of thing just doesn't happen every day. But she was investing in those people that she knew and believed in. Did all of them go and rank advance and soar? No, but a lot of them did. And a lot of them truly, there was that law of reciprocity that kicked in, and they knew what was her belief in them because she paid that literally in the way of money. And so many people today have not had anyone believe in them. And that is an epidemic of people that don't believe in other people. I took for granted the belief my parents had in me. So you believing in someone and you saying, I see greatness in you, oh my gosh, it's oxygen to people. It truly is. This is not hyperbole. It is oxygen to people's soul that you see something in them that is greatness, that deserves a platform. It deserves a place to come to life. And this company is a place that it gets to come to life. That would be my counsel.
I know. I mean, Dave came to the first conference in our previous company, the one where you had me get on stage and share my story. And he was just going to go drop us off and then go out and mountain bike the whole weekend. And I asked him if he'd just sit for 30 minutes, and he never left his chair after that. Like, his vision got so much bigger about what we have in our hands. And I mean, if you guys can bring your spouses, even your kids, to sit in the seats and just, understand, like, wow, your, $500 or $1,000 that you initially spent in this company, and this is what you have. You've got this corporate team. You've got these scientists researching this product that's just launched. Like, the vision of what we have gets so real. And once you have that vision and that belief, man, there's no turning back. So thank you, Charla. I know you had a really big day. You had a women's Christian leadership all morning this morning, and I didn't put two and two together that you're coming on our team training the same day. So thank you so much for taking the time. Where is the best place for people to follow you? I know several of our teamies have found you on Instagram to kind of follow you and your message.
So at Charla Gervers on Instagram, or Charla Gervers Thompson. I go by Gervers because it was my main name, and it was a good name when he passed. And if I do my job, it will still be a good name. So on professionally, I've always been Gervers, but in my personal life, I am Thompson. So Thompson's my married last name to my amazing husband, Jason. So
Okay.
yes, Charla Gervers Thompson on Facebook, and then at Charla Gervers on Instagram. And I'm not really TikTok yet. I am learning more and more every day.
I just saw you on there today.
I know, I'm learning. So
yeah,
it's all good. I'm not afraid to get out there and be the fool who does things different. I learn. I forgot this one I wanted to share with you guys. There was someone that I also knew here in Dallas she was with another company. She was #1 income earner in that company. She went live 800 days in a row. And that is what propelled her to being the #1 income earner in her company, 800 days in a row. So if you don't like doing something, do it at 800 days in a row and you'll get good at it. That was the lesson I took from that. So
challenge is on. I'm doing little by little, more.
Yeah, I saw some big eyes there for just a second.
I'll inspire each other. Well, I'm going to create a petition to get you on our stage as a keynote. And
oh, you're so sweet.
You're
you guys take it and you guys run with it. Y'all be the keynote. You guys take this, run with it, and then share what changed in you. That's the best keynote you could possibly have, is from all of you and your testimonial of putting it in motion and being the one, being the marketer, being the salesperson, being the closer, and stepping into that everywhere, in every part of your life. Gosh, imagine if you were that in every part of your life, how your life would be in living color. Like the color that would come to life. So that's my greatest wish for you. Thank you, Christy, for having me. It's been an honor and a privilege. Love you guys.
We love you,
Charla. Bye.
Well, bye.
Bye.